All eyes are on Major Hurricane Maria for September 19th. First of all, let's take a shot of the entire Atlantic Basin, and basically there's nothing else going on except for our two systems out there, which is Hurricane Maria right there, dead center of your screen, and Hurricane Jose up off the northeast coast of the United States, or mid-Atlantic anyway. And just to calm everyone's fears, there is nothing else down the pike. Here's this morning's floater loop on Hurricane Maria, and you can see the eye is still very well established. Passed directly over the island of Dominica, and it really didn't lose much intensity at all. The National Hurricane Center believes that it has regained Category 5 status now and is heading in the direction of St. Croix and Puerto Rico. So we hope everybody there has made the proper preparations, but the system is once again getting its act together, so we expect this probably to remain a Cat 5 as it approaches the island of Puerto Rico, even though the National Hurricane Center's forecast has it at 145 at landfall. I still wouldn't be surprised if this was a Category 5. Here's a quick look at Hurricane Jose this morning. It is still a hurricane, and there's debate on the National Hurricane Center discussion about whether this is purely tropical, looking at the broad nature of this system. But the problem is there's no cold front, there's no trough attached to this, so it is purely a warm core system. And they're going to remain it as right now it's a hurricane. It's going to weaken as it hits the cooler waters up here in about the next 24 hours, and then it's going to weaken down to tropical storm and begin to slowly turn away from the United States. But this is going to be a huge wave action problem for the East Coast. That in combination with Maria coming up here, it's going to be a very wavy, dangerous period for the East Coast of the United States with gigantic waves and rip currents and everything else. So it's advisable not even to go into the ocean over the next several days with these systems all causing a lot of wave action here. But the system will be weakening and pulling away. It's not going to be a big wind event for the Northeast. So I just want to quickly go through the model runs this morning, the ensembles on a lot of these models based on the Hurricane Forecast Improvement Program by NOAA. And this can be found on my predictions page, hurricanecity.com/predictions. So here we go. These are the NCEP mean models taking this northeast of Puerto Rico and over the same Virgin Islands that were raked by Hurricane Irma. And we go to the GEFS ensembles, and might take them a minute to load up here. Again, the indications are that this would pass just northeast of Puerto Rico, but there's a good splattering of the models that take it directly over Puerto Rico and a few that take it just east of Puerto Rico. So it's not etched in stone that this is going to pass directly over Puerto Rico, but it's looking that way. And it takes these just a minute to load up. And here's the UK Met model ensembles. Again, half take it on in Puerto Rico and half take it to the right of Puerto Rico. Very close call. But you notice on all these model runs, the consensus is to turn before the Bahamas, which is good news for the Bahamas, and turn north, taking this between Bermuda and the United States. So it looks like this is not going to be a U.S. direct impact from Hurricane Maria. Great news for the United States, and it looks like the Bahamas are going to be spared as well. But Puerto Rico, seems like it's about 50-50 based on all the model on some. Now these are the European ensembles, and they're taking it. 90% of these are right over Puerto Rico. So I mean, there's really no way around this. This is going to be a Puerto Rico storm, and one for the history books. And I certainly hope everybody in Puerto Rico is ready for Category 5 conditions down there. Again, mainly Puerto Rico here on the Canadian ensembles, a few to the right, a couple to the left, but basically right over Puerto Rico. And that's basically it. I don't want to run all the models. It's too messy, but the bottom line is Puerto Rico looks like you're going to take a direct hit. St. Croix is going to take a direct hit. Probably the U.S. Virgin Islands further north, like St. Thomas as well. And even the British Virgin Islands are going to be impacted by Hurricane Maria after being raked by Hurricane Irma. This is not a good situation at all. And finally, here is the front page of hurricanecity.com. Notice the current feature at the top is the island of Dominica, which was heavily hit yesterday. I will be changing that this morning. And by the way, if you ever want to reach one of the cities or islands that you want to get information from, it's usually the most threatened is listed up here at the top of the website. But if you want to go city by city, just click on the products button up here at the top, and you pick city and island database, and then choose your city or island, and at the very top there's a link to current weather conditions. When you click on that, it opens up the page with all the webcams, radio feeds, news and information from the affected areas, because quite frankly there's just too many areas being impacted in any given storm to list them all at the top of Hurricane City. So we only list one city or island at a time that is at the highest risk of being damaged. So if you want other cities and islands, just please visit that database and you can find them all right there. But I'm going to probably switch this morning to St. Croix is probably the most logical next destination for this, and of course Puerto Rico will be after that. So if anybody lives in any of these other cities other than what I featured, that does not mean that you're in the clear by any stretch of the imagination, because the entire island of Puerto Rico is going to get heavily hit by this hurricane. There's no really escaping it in any corner of the island, or in the Virgin Islands for that matter. So that's a tool to use. The other tool to use is zooming in this map. Again, when you zoom in, you get all the population totals and more information, like the advisories pop up, the times and the dates for landfall, and population totals. For example, here we have all the population totals in Puerto Rico. We're talking, 37,000 live on the northeast tip near Fajardo. You got the biggest population centers were right around, San Juan area. You got 500,000 people there alone, probably even more than that. 45,000 down in the southeast corner. So population centers on the coastal areas are always represented on these maps, and all the best performing models, etc. So that tool can be used. You can get the Hurricane Hunter information, everything you need to track this system as it's moving off. But the good news this morning is for the United States, all the models indicate, and the official forecast from the National Hurricane Center indicate, that this will pass to the east of the Bahamas and east of the United States. And using the HurTrack Pro, courtesy of PC Weather Products, we can figure out what the winds are going to be in these particular locations. Let's take a look at St. Croix. 155 gusting to 188. Southeastern Puerto Rico, 155 gusting to 188. And let's get up near San Juan, Puerto Rico, 151 gusting to 183. And then as you get towards the southwest portion of the island, the winds will be less, but still hurricane force. For example, down in the southwest portion of Puerto Rico, we're talking winds 60 gusting to 75. So everybody in Puerto Rico is going to get hurricane force winds, but it looks like the eastern half or northeastern portion of the island is going to get the worst winds of major, Category 5 type winds all through here in the dark red areas. And finally, a programming note. Each night I'm live around 8 o'clock covering this historic event for Puerto Rico. We were live last night covering it hitting Dominica. I will be live again tonight going over all the latest findings that I'm able to gather as this approaches Puerto Rico. We'll be live again tomorrow night. That by then we'll know that this has made landfall, and we'll know what kind of damage. We'll hear things trickling out of Puerto Rico. Maybe some more information will be coming out of Puerto Rico as this hits. And of course, these update videos are done daily, if possible. I appreciate all the support, the emails, donations are greatly needed at Hurricane City. We appreciate all of it. That's it for now. Hope the people in Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands are batting down the hatches. It's coming, and it's going to be real bad. All right? So be ready. I'm Jim Williams. Thank you for watching.